Hey everybody. Today I'm going to be removing the wheel spacers on the E46 M3 to put them on the E90 328i. So the E90's got some pretty high offset wheels on it, and I need about a 20 mil spacer I think out back and somewhere in the neighborhood of a 15-ish spacer up front, I think. So for now, what I'm going to do is take the 20 mil spacers off of the back of the M3, and I'm going to use those on the back of the E90. Then I'll take the 10 mil spacers that I put on the back of the E90, put those on the front just for the time being. Now, I want to keep wheel bolts on the E90 rather than converting to studs. So these are still wheel bolts for the time being. With the 20 mil spacers, I think they're H&Rs. So we're going to take those off of this car, and in place, we're going to convert this M3 from bolts to studs. So let's check out what we got. Okay, so a couple of things we got going on down here. One is this new Daytona jack, which has been awesome so far. And then we have some of the studs. These are from, I want to say the BBS World. And these are the, I think, what do they call, bullnose style, where the nice thing about this is that you just put them on, tighten them down until they bottom out. It's already got anti-seize on them, so install is super easy on these. The rears to support the longer studs are 92 millimeters, I believe. And then the shorter ones that you see here on the left, I'm going to use those on the front. I believe those are 82 millimeters. So we got 92s and 82s. All right, and then to go along with it, of course, just factory nuts. And these are Turner Motorsports 20 millimeter wheel spacers. So looking pretty quality. All right, so I'm going to just start off by jacking up the rear of the car and taking off this rear wheel, and should be a pretty simple swap. All right, so here's how it's going to work. You've got your stud. This is going to thread in. What I'm going to do in order to tighten the stud into the hub is take two wheel bolts and put them on about this far, leaving roughly an inch, 3/4 of an inch at the end. So we're going to start with this one here. I'm just going to thread it in by hand. So now we're hand tight, and I'm going to take a box end wrench. In this case, a 17 mil, right? And we're going to torque, tighten these two nuts to one another. So according to BBS World's instructions, they'll say to torque this nut onto the bottom one to roughly 70 foot-pounds. We've got 70. We're going to hold one of our nuts in place like this. And we're going to go ahead and torque the other one up on it to 70. There, finally got 70 foot-pounds. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do that 5 times. All right, there we go. Using the second nut farthest from the hub, torque stud between 50 and 80 foot-pounds. If you cannot reach this torque level, further tighten the two nuts together. So, somewhere between 50 and 80 foot-pounds. How about we back this down to, say, 60? Yeah, 60 foot-pounds. All right, so now this should be torquing the entire stud, but it looks like the entire the nuts are moving with it. So we're gonna have to tighten against the bottom stud even tighter. Fun. Increase the torque on my torque wrench to we were at 70. I want to torque it up to 80. We're now at 80. 80 foot-pounds. Here we go. There we go. Okay, that's 80 on the top. We're going to back down the torque wrench to 50 foot-pounds and see if we can't get that to work on our stud. 50 foot-pounds. Hey, there we go. So we got 50. So after you get the first one on, I think I might have found a little bit of a hack to make this easier. With the box end wrench on one side, you can support it against one of the other studs. And then I took, then you have these two lugs tight. And with that now, the other lug is not going to move. So you can easily put some pressure on this, get it to 70 foot-pounds. There's 70. Now I can take this off, decrease my torque on this one down to 50 foot-pounds right there. Lock it up again. Now put it on the top and there we go, 50 foot-pounds. All right, so then what I like to do to break this one off quick is to put it back on the impact and just hold this one here and take it off. Okay, studs are on. Major differences between this and the H&R that I took off. Clearly the holes that are drilled, besides the color, it does look like the Turner spacer has these nice little groove cutouts on the side here. So in the event that they get stuck on, they're a little bit easier to take off. Otherwise, you know, just a pretty standard thick spacer. Putting it right over top of the studs here. Sits nicely in place, flush against the hub. So yeah, I think we're ready. Now we can just stick the wheel back on and put on new lug nuts. And just confirming, we are at 75 foot-pounds. And we'll go ahead. 1. We do star pattern. 2. 3. 4. 5. There we go. Next will be the passenger side, but I don't think I'm going to show that. We're going to skip ahead. We're back. Got the 20 mil spacers off of the E46 M3. We got 20 mil spacers with Beamer World studs on there. So I went ahead and pulled the E90 in the middle of the garage, or middle of the driveway. And we're going to see if we can't get this thing jacked up and the spacer swapped, probably front to rear and then rear to front before it starts raining. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and chalk the fronts. One on each side, and that just ensures that the vehicle doesn't roll when I back it up, especially since we're on a hill right here. Ooh, and hear a little bit of thunder, so let's try to do this quick. Did you feel that? Yo. Oh, my car doesn't roll down the hill. I got chocks on the front, but Yeah.
Nah, it ain't going nowhere, man. That's what that storm is coming, though.
Yeah, I gotta rush. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love this thing. 5. Tool off. Down. Old spacer off. Let me grab the new ones. New ones, 20 mils. Longer bolts. Twice as wide. These are confirming. These are 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters. So, new ones on. Sits nice and flush. There we go. I like to go ahead and do it this way. One of the longer wheel studs, bolts, and I'm just gonna get it started a little bit there. Get it started. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and torque them. Maybe more. There we go. So I'll come back and torque those later. We're gonna end up using these on the front. So let me do the other side. And immediately, oh yeah, much better fit. Much better. Okay, onto the fronts. Two chocks, and this will prevent the car from rolling when I put it up on the hill. E-brake is still on, but just to be extra safe. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Old bolts aside. New one out. Get this wheel off. And for those wondering, this is off of the X3. It is a 19 by 8.5 ET40 46, I believe. So this 10 millimeter spacer will effectively make it an ET36. Still probably not the perfect offset for these fenders, but it's what I got, better than nothing, so we're gonna stick it on there. All right, so when I stick this on, actually it has a pretty good mating surface right now, so I don't need to, but normally what I would do is take the sandpaper and then just stuff up here around the lip, because you get residue on there that builds up over time. And when you try to put your spacer on, you don't get a clean seat on there. So I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to scuff it up a little bit. Helps out for later. Also, if you have anti-seize, not a bad idea to put a little anti-seize around the lip here on the back, not on the face, but just right where it goes over the hub. That way it makes it easier to take this on and off. All right, so I get this in there, get one started, move on to one near the bottom, and then I just like to zap it lightly. We'll torque it later. I just want to get them in place. Now we'll hit them a little tighter. And after the car is down on all four, we'll come through and actually torque them to, was it 80 foot-pounds, 85 foot-pounds. Okay, done with this side. I'm going to do the other side. We'll come back and torque them. All right, there it is. Storm is coming, so I just barely made it. Sorry for the wind noise, but there it is. I'm going to take this thing for a drive in the storm, make sure everything's good. Actually, I got to torque this thing down real quick before the storm hits, so we'll try to knock that out. I'll tell you what, guys, the nick of time is a thing. No sooner had I put the car down humongous drops just started falling from the sky. And yeah, I had enough time to hop in the car and move it over into the parking space before it just started pouring. I don't know if you guys can see. But what's important is the stance with the spacers on here. So just a quick shot of the front now with the rain and everything. Looking mo better. So that is the 19 by 8.5 on the front with a 10 mil spacer to make it an effective ET36, 8.5 by 8.5 inch wide, 235, 35, 19, ET36. That's an ET46 with the 10 mil spacer. And then looking here in the back, we swapped the 10 mils out for the 20 mils. So again, mo better. You know, maybe a hair more spacer would work, but I think for a street setup, I don't have to worry about rubbing or anything. Well, at least I hope I don't have to worry about rubbing. This is right on. So I'm getting wet standing here under the garage. But there it is. Looking good. Let me know what you guys think. I haven't seen these X3 BBSs on any other 3 Series before, but you know, not bad. It reminds me a lot of the was it Style 187, or I think it's 187, something like that, that came on the E92 coupes. Hear that thunder? Yeah, it reminds me a lot of those, but those were only 18-inch wheels, so these are 19s with that fresh Sachs, or is it Socks or Sachs? Sachs dampers on those on there now. The M Sport, M Performance 226A package, or whatever it is. A little bit different through the E90s as to what BMW called it. I think on the 335s it might have been called the M Performance, but ultimately, you know, 10 years, a decade later, it's pretty much all the same damper. So there we go, guys. I'm going to take this thing out for a drive soon. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later. A little bit of the M3 before I hit end. All right, bam.